welcome to a brand new season of ETCIO LinkedIn Live series. I'm Sneha Jha, editor of ETCIO, and it is with great pleasure that I bring to you the inaugural episode of season 2. This time around, the series is called CIO Unfiltered, and aptly so. Because in this season, we will talk to some of the top CIOs in the country about their personal and professional evolution. My guest today is perhaps one of the most inspirational IT leaders in the country. I've been associated with him from my early days as a cub reporter. I have tracked his projects, covered them as case studies, and interviewed him on a variety of topics. He is known for his breadth of experience and the depth of his insights. So you can imagine my excitement when he agreed to join me for this inaugural episode to help me kickstart the second season of ETCIO's LinkedIn Live series. He is a highly awarded, highly admired, and highly regarded industry veteran. He is Rajesh Uppal, Senior Executive Director, IT, HR, and Safety, and the CIO of Maruti Suzuki India. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to CIO Unfiltered. Thank
Good
you for
afternoon.
joining us today.
Good afternoon, Sneha. Thank you so much for having me here today.
My pleasure entirely, sir. I have been really looking forward to this conversation. So, to start us out, if you could help us understand the culture at Maruti Suzuki, you've had a very long standing stint with the company for over 39 years. Now, Maruti, while it started out as a public sector entity, it's always been known for lean manufacturing, Kaizen, Kanban, the high orientation to efficient work practices, the focus on quality, cost, and delivery right from its early days in 1983. But what parts of the organizational culture have evolved during your tenure and how?
Maruti, I think we started as a public sector way back in 1982, but we never behaved like a public sector from day one. As you know, when we started, we were 74% government of India and 26% Japanese. But we could evolve a culture which is very clear, Indo-Japanese culture in India, which is, picking up the best practices from Japan and build them into Indian context. I think that's the culture our top leader that time, Mr. Bhargav and Dr. Krishnamurthy, we really created together with them a new culture in India, which is very, very, agile, which is very, very innovative, and which is very, very process adherence kind of thing. So the vision, in fact, I still remember talking to chairman at that time, what are you looking forward to India? I said, that time he said, no, we want to create an organization which is best and a benchmark in manufacturing in the country. And so that other industry can learn from this and make India as a big manufacturing hub so that efficiency could percolate down from Maruti to other companies in India. I guess we could create that culture in India through picking up the best practices of Japan, which is Kaizen, Gemba, 3G, all those practices which Japan follows, have it to an Indian context, and then get all people implement that and all. In fact, all the managers who were managing at that time were sent to Japan to get training on how Japanese management and the workmen work together, and they really create focus where company improvement or company success is the focus of everybody, whether it's your manager, your workman, or anybody in the team. So that kind of culture we could bring in Maruti, and everybody, have a very, very high sense of ownership. They have authorized to do that work, and also they are made responsible to do the work. In fact, My stint between before Maruti was in another public sector, but I think the
HCL.
yeah. So when I joined Maruti, the kind of role I got, empowered role I get in Maruti was being done by a DGM level person in my earlier organization. So I think that kind of empowerment we gave it to young people with right lot of authority to do that and all, but with taking a lot of responsibility with them to work and all. I
Right.
think
So
this
it
is
was
very
a
unique.
democratic setup and a sense of ownership was instilled in the employees.
I think one reason for our success between us and our competition, I personally feel, is the high sense of ownership of our employees. I think that's the big differentiator between us and our competition. Right?
Right, absolutely. So the points that you laid out about marrying the, Japanese culture of efficiency and innovation with the Indian standards has really helped Maruti create India as a manufacturing hub, and that explains why you all are the top car manufacturer in the country today. And some of those aspects that you highlighted about empowering the employees, giving them a sense of ownership, a sense of purpose, that really helps a company, achieve some of its corporate goals. And that is very interesting because at some level that would have really led to your professional evolution as well. Like you said, the moment you joined here, you were given a sense of purpose, a sense of ownership. And, it's said that life and time are the greatest teachers in this world. So, what have been some of your, at least three of your biggest learnings from your professional career that have given you a more elevated perspective in life and in your career?
Yeah, I think very interesting question, and my personal feeling is, and the way I think very important for any career for a professional would be, first and foremost, is that never be satisfied with the status quo. So a lot of my colleagues, I've seen people are comfortable running the show the way it is. I think my always learning has been you have to keep on evolving yourself, keep on challenging the way things are going on, and look for how can you take it to a next level. And normally, my thinking is there's nothing like steady state. If you don't improve, you will come down. So the first learning I have is never be satisfied with status quo and make sure that you keep on looking for opportunity to improve, opportunity to grow, opportunity to do things in a better way is the first learning I have. Second, I think is important for any professional would be to continuously learn, continuously be relevant to the market and continuously to relevant to the industry. I mean, till today also, maybe, I always have maybe three books on my bedside to read before I sleep so that I keep learn something and all so that I can be relevant for the industry to look at that. That second is a very, very important and all. Unless you grow yourself, technically and capability wise, you will never ever to lead going forward. And all that's the second no, I guess habit you need to create to be there relevant to the industry is the second big learning I have. And third important element is the whole your ability to network and collaborate with the whole ecosystem, your partners, your colleagues, your network, and especially in the industry from I come, where you are just in a core of things around. You have so many dealers, so many suppliers, so many transporters, so many finance companies. Unless you build a whole capability to really collaborate, network, and work with them and all, you can't grow or you can't run your businesses around to do that and all. So your whole strong ability and capability to really network with people, learn from anybody and all. And today I do a lot of learning from young people who join to me and all. The kind of exposure they have to a digital world is much more than even I can think of. So I want to learn from them over there to do that and all. But your ability to really collaborate, network, and learn will be third big area to learn. So the three learnings basically challenge the status quo all the time, continuously learn and collaborate and network.
Right, absolutely, sir. I think you summed it up really well. And these are actually success mantras, not just in a CIO role, but in every walk of life, in every professional journey that anyone could think of. Because, challenging status quo, evolving yourself, constantly learning, being relevant, networking, collaborating, these are all things that will strike a chord with a lot of our viewers because these are very relevant, like I said, to achieving success and also for achieving self growth in whichever profession you are in. So,
Absolutely.
Right. And you're known to be a voracious reader, like you said, and there's always something new to learn every day. So I want to zoom in on some of these aspects that you've talked about. Like you said, you believe in challenging the status quo, in evolving yourself, learning new things. You've also had a very multi-dimensional experience, not just in technology, but you've also worked in HR and other fields as well. So, how have you leveraged your long-standing experience in technology to transform the HR practice at Maruti Suzuki in terms of user experience, organizational cohesiveness, the agile workforce, learning methodologies, and also process efficiency?
Sure. I think no. Luckily for me, I became CIO in '98, and 2010, 12, I was given charge to set up a training academy for Maruti, and that's where I, also got a chance to work in HR area in the company, and later on I also started heading HR for the company. So not only that, I from a technology side, support to HR, but I also was as a user and also to drive HR. So I got that kind of chance to work on. Now there are multiple areas where I feel that no, we have been able to do success in Maruti Suzuki for last 40 years now. And also second part is the current success cannot take us future and all, and we need to really, HR is one function where you have to evolve yourself for future also along with that to work on. So let me first touch upon on technology front firstly. Now the mantra we said was that customer experience has been always been a focus of Maruti, and the way one of the reasons for success is the kind of customer satisfaction and customer focus as a company we have was a big one. But when I went to HR, we said, okay, customer experience is important, but I think employee experience is equally important. Now, how do we create a whole technology ecosystem to really give a good experience to our employees to work on, I think. And
Because
that's
happy
where
employees make happy customers.
absolutely. So the customer experience was one big focus we created internally. It was a 3-year long journey with a lot of backend, SAP implementation on HR front to automations to AI, ML, and all those technologies to really ensure that we implement that and all. But with keeping employee experience in the beginning was a one big area of work and all. And we put up whole technology front, whether Ask HR or mobile app for employees and so on and so forth, is something which we build and adopted in the our way of working. Also technology in how people learn and grow themselves, frankly. So giving them platforms to learn, giving them integrating their whole learning with their career, and make sure that they have right environment of learning as they go along is the second area we build, and we said, okay, let's work on this and deliver that to our employees to, or rather enable our employees to work on, was the second area of work which we worked on. But I think that's not enough. Our industry, where we very firmly realized that we have reached a 0 to 2 million car in last 40 years. But the way this industry is getting disrupted with new technologies and all, I guess we will have another 2 million coming up in next 7 years. So imagine the kind of transformation which is needed in our industry to be relevant to do that and all. Your practices for running or growth of 40 years cannot achieve you the growth of double the growth in next 7 years and all. That's where I think not only the technology part, but I think we are driving the change and adoption in our HR practices to be relevant for that speed and that agility required in and large organizations are always seen as very monolithic and very process oriented organization. Now, how do we create that agility in the organization to really be relevant or ability to navigate going forward for that speed which is required in the industry? And that's where a lot of the changes in the way we work, a lot of changes in the way we engage our people, and a lot of work where we hire and make them productive in the organization as fast as possible is the area which we are focusing on, to ensure that we really have right manpower at right place to do right job with the right compensation, with right capability. I think is a game which we need to really be working on, and we need to continuously going on. On top of it, I think one big area in any organization which has become a big focus for everybody is the health. Now, post COVID, the focus on being wellness and having that as a core theme for engagement is something very, very important. And we're saying not only the physical health but even the mental health to look on that. So the whole sort of activities on a platform which is again IT enabled to work on, to ensure that you engage people on wellness than really engage people on activities to work on and all. And have a wholesome approach of managing our employees is something, a big area which we are working on. Ensure that people are engaged, people are continuously learning, and people are really having fun in their working is something which we have been working on continuously.
Absolutely. That's the lot of work that you're undertaking at Maruti Suzuki to keep the culture agile, to keep it interesting, and to make it a safe place to work in. So, you've had experience across diverse business functions, as we discussed earlier. And with such a wide ranging work experience, where do you look for insights and inspiration? How do you create that ecosystem around you that constantly inspires you, enlightens you, and gives you new, engaging, and compelling ideas to transform the HR and technology functions at Maruti Suzuki?
A tough question. Maybe I'll answer in two parts, actually. First was from, my inspiration has been my father, who was, a government servant in late 70s and early 80s around and all. And I have seen him working from 8 o'clock morning till 2 o'clock in the night for the work which is doing the government and all. So I think getting an inspiration from home that the work is workship and working on the improvement or working on for your job as the core, and which really gives you the kick of your engagement and all is I think it's come from my parents to look at that. But more than that, now I think I'm lucky to have a very, very good environment given to me in Maruti Suzuki of a very, very intelligent and a very strong team with me. That's point number one. And also personally, I firmly believe that your capability building has to be your own agenda. Now I have my own set of I'll say mentors across the industry. I have my own set of leaders whom I consult and take guidance on, or maybe I have a lot of those so-called friends where I can not relevant to my business, but they are available to me as a sounding box for really anything I need to them and all. They do validate that, okay, are you on right track and all, or I can navigate better and all. I think if you take the ownership of your development journey on yourself and create that ecosystem around you that which can help you to nudge you, to really guide you, to really build you up going forward, I think it's a very, very important ownership you need to take on yourself, create that network, and which I said earlier also is one of the requirement for the leader to be. I think that's very important for you to do that. So I look for a lot of people on that is one part. And third, I think important area is I am a very vivid reader. As I said, I read a lot on that and all. So I really look for new and newer subjects or new topics around to do that. Now today, not only and I love reading physical books. I am not comfortable with the
Yes.
reading on the
That's always
mobiles
a
or
rich experience, correct.
so I have a big personal library of books to really look forward to. But the along with that, also now of late, definitely YouTubes and all those channels are big learning experience for you to look at from point of view and all. So I think I also look for those insights and those inspirations from various kind of books I read and all, to ensure that I'm really excited to work on and keep on improving my posture in the industry on a continuous basis. Right?
Sir, the other thing that I really wanted to understand from you, because you've been in a CIO role, kind of spearheaded a lot of high impact, enterprise wide, large scale projects. Now, technology changes at a whirlwind pace. How can organizations then future proof the technology choices and decisions that they make for a more resilient tomorrow?
See, there are two things in the technology domain right now. One is, what I call it as the hygiene of IT in an organization, which makes sure that your business runs. Now you need to make sure that you have a robust framework of those technologies, whether it's ERPs or CRMs or all those things around to work on, which is focus is on efficiency. That you done it efficiently, you really reduce maximum cost possible into that and all, and ensure that your business is running smoothly. And then it has got all the elements of resilience, like DRs available or processes available, monitoring, SOCs and all is the one part of thing around. And you need to make sure that those are not compromised, but those are done which create efficiencies in the company, and also they are done very efficiently. But now of late, the important part which has started on top of it is the whole consuming this IT to create business value, which is the whole how can you be in all your business to be more effective. So efficiency versus effectiveness, now which we're talking about. Now here the whole technology stack is, how do you ensure that you use technology with very clear return on investment you do on technologies. Now you put in we put in a huge digital organization now in Maruti, where you can really each investments are seen as how much we are investing into this, what value we are creating. Now analytics projects or IoT projects or other things are based on not on efficiencies, they are more on what business value you are creating and all. And we have a lot of success stories on doing this and all, and ensure that we keep doing that and all. Now, in all these processes of doing this and all, one thing very, very clear is, I have a firm belief that these technologies these innovations are very short-lived, and these can be copied by your competition much faster these days. In fact, sometime I've seen my colleagues have left us and all, join my competition and help them to do it much faster than what we could do and all.
It's a world of early adopters and fast followers.
Yes. So in that case and all, I think, how can you bring a culture where you're not raising bar all the time is the culture you need to create in the organization to do that is the very, very important element of that. On top of it, I think one big focus area for each CIO going forward and would be, since both these technologies now, of the sustenance and of innovation has to coexist together. Now, in this environment, your whole IT architecture is becoming very complex. You have on-prem, hybrid, private cloud, partner ecosystem, integrations and all to work on. A big focus on enterprise architecture is going to become a major area of work. And my feeling is, the going forward winning organization will have to have a very strong enterprise architecture framework, so that you have right kind of infrastructure available. Because with the kind of technologies now, the security required, the uptime required, and with such a complex infrastructure, unless you do a good job of making a right enterprise architecture in the company and put a whole governance process on top of it, is going to become a very, very difficult for the organization to be resilient factory.
So, sir, every single occasion where I've met you, I've always found you to be very calm, self-composed, very gentle and kind. So, how do you manage to stay so calm? How do you handle these stress and frustrations that life throws at you? You handle so many job responsibilities, such a large team. How do you manage stress? How do you handle all of this and still stay so calm?
It's a nature you have to build now. When I used to be very, worried earlier on each front and all, but I think my whole team members, my family give me a lot of support to really be relevant and be working on this on a ongoing basis.
Right.
And I said also earlier, I have a very my own set of mentors available to me whom I can speak to anytime and all, and then take a guidance on, so that make it possible to do that and all. That's one part of thing around. Secondly, to add to this and all, I think I've been very focused on lifestyle and health, and the all area around your lifestyle is very, very important. So start the day with the right kind of time spent on yourself for your all health related objectives and all, sometime on gymming or sometime on yogas or sometime on those kind of activities around. I've been a very big health focused person for last many years now, spending a lot of time on what to eat, when to eat, and how much to eat, so that you are healthy and you have a healthy body, and your stress and level is very, very straight away correlatable, I guess. So I really focus on my what do I eat, and when do I eat, when a kind of sleep I need to get and all. I think I'm very focused on all those aspects of my life, and I make sure that I do that very, very, and I have very strong mindset to really do that and all. I mean, if I'm dieting, I'm on dieting. I mean, I've done fastings for intermittent for a long time. I've done a full day fastings to ensure that I'm healthy based on my advice by my doctor and my dietitians and all. So I really keep working with them to ensure that. And also I keep trying new things all the time. Sometime on Ayurveda to look at what is best in theirs and all, sometime on some other kind of input coming on that and all. I think focusing on yourself and your health, I think, is very critical and all. And I think the COVID has really made everyone aware of that. We should be focusing on that. I think that has been a very, very big learning for each one of the people around. But I have been focusing on, I think, much earlier than that. Right?
Right, absolutely. I think that is the best asset that we can invest in, and that will give us good returns. And like you said, discipline is very important in following through with all of this healthy routine that you talked about.
Mm.
Absolutely agree with you on that, sir. So, ever since we started this conversation, this point has been coming up, and there's this question rattling around in my mind for quite some time now. So, I want to know from you that since you're a voracious reader, you like to read a lot of different kind of books. You have a personal library of your own. Can you name the three best books that you have read and why you like them? Why do they bring you joy? What do these books mean the most to you?
So yeah, I think a couple of books which I recently read, and I think I'm very, very, passionate about these books, and I really loved this book, which in fact, sometime many of them I bought and shared with a lot of my friends that they should read that and all. Is something which is important. I'll share a few of them with you now. I think one book I read around last year was "The Future is Faster Than What You Think." This is a book, very interesting read, which is any technology guy must read this book and all. I think, and this is by Peter Diamond and Steve Kotler. This book really give you insight into that how the future would be going forward with each technology in each sector of the businesses. Frankly, it does talk about technology management in the beginning, but then it go deep dive into a fairy tale kind of visualization that how industry is going to be in each function around her. Very, very interesting read and all. Maybe it may not be relevant for each industry to look at that, but there's a lot of points to pick up, that how can you really pick up those thoughts and bring it to your business is I guess must read for all any technology leader in the company. Look at that. Second book I will talk about is the book called Ikigai. Now this is a book which is rather so-called Bible for Japanese. Somebody who has sit in Japan for a long time and written this book after that and all, that how Japanese manage their life and how they manage their thing. And this is book written by somebody who was there in Japan. The guy called the area called I forgot the name of the place, where average life of the person is 100 years. And he has studied their life on that why people in Japan in this area live for more than 100 years. Now, everybody has a purpose in life. What do they eat? How they network? How do they do that or not? Is a really, really a good read to see that, okay, how you can live healthier, and how can you be a happy person in your life, doing right thing in your career and all. And that's where I'm saying people live so long because they are happy in their area to work. So the third book which I feel very very important is Getting Competitive, a practitioner guide for India. Very very interesting book written by Mr. Bhargav on what could we have done better to improve the competitiveness of Indian industry in current environment. Now he really talked about on the practices which a company should be following. He also talked about practices which government should be following, and I think it's a very clear sort of a Bible for anybody to read on. If we have to become, say, the third largest economy in the world, our manufacturing has to grow and all. What all each companies and the industry, what kind of relationship the management and the workmen should have and all. I think it's a very fantastic read for everybody to really look at and implement that in their organizations to really build that kind of excellence in the companies. Right?
So, all of you listening to this episode, please do add these book recommendations by Uppal sir to your weekend reading list. So, one common theme that I see emerging in our conversation is that the way you talk and the way you share your knowledge, you exhibit a lot of intellectual humility, and the fact that you need to keep learning and the fact that you want to keep learning. So there is also this hunger to fill the gaps in your knowledge, and that maybe is a secret of your success, because these are the attributes that you keep nurturing all the time. Is there one life philosophy that you want to leave our viewers with that they could benefit from?
I feel, there's no age for learning, or there's no limitation for learning from anywhere and all. I think uh, one has to have the right hunger for learning all your life, and that's something is very very important for you to look at. And if you want to build a good career, keep learning is, I think, one of the most important secret sauce for your success would be, frankly.
I once again would like to thank our viewers for watching this episode. Please do track us on social media to find out who's our guest for the next week. Thank you for watching.
Thank you so much, Neha.